Welcome to Dr. Mensch, the radio show that takes a real, compassionate look at mental health from A to Z. Join child and adolescent psychiatrist Dr. Gil Lichtshein each week as we explore topics that matter: autism, ADHD, anxiety, depression, OCD, schizophrenia, behavioral challenges, neurodevelopmental disorders, and more. No stigma, no judgment. Just honest conversations, new therapies, breakthrough treatments, and real solutions for real people. Mental health is not a weakness. It's a treatable medical condition, and help is available. Join the conversation now by calling the studio at 888-994-4995, Studio A. This is Dr. Mensch, where hope and healing begin.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dr. Gil Lichtshein, aka Dr. Mensch, with you from chilly South Florida, where these last couple days, for those who are new to living in South Florida, maybe they're kind of used to coming from up north, but those who've been living here for 20, 30 years or their whole lifetime, these last couple days have been unusual and cold. They even had some freeze warnings or freeze watches in some parts. Kind of nuts when you say global warming. To me, it's global colding. Well, again, I'm Dr. Gil Lichtshein. I'm a board-certified child, adolescent, adult psychiatrist. I have a clinical practice in Boca Raton. My office is located at 7100 West Camino Real, Suite 404 in Boca Raton. My phone number is 561-300-4052. And today, being it's February 2nd, Sunday is the Super Bowl, but towards the end of next week is another big day. Maybe not as big as like Super Bowl Sunday, but the following Saturday, or a week from this Saturday, or 12 days from now, is Valentine's Day, February 14th. And it's a day that, can be stressful to many. So what I want to talk about today is a topic called presence, P-R-E-S-E-N-T-S, or presence, P-R-E-S-E-N-C-E, a psychiatrist's guide to stress-free gift giving. When you look for like the perfect, I guess you can call Valentine's Day some type of holiday. So when you're looking for the perfect holiday gift, some of us find it to be joyful, go shopping for your significant other, buying him or her a present. Others find it overwhelming, irritating, or even downright cumbersome. As a psychiatrist in Boca Raton, I find that for most of my patients, a holiday like Valentine's Day, as well as you can apply this to the holidays like Christmas and New Year's and Thanksgiving and Easter and Passover and whatever other holiday you want to consider, can stir a mix of positive and negative feelings. And, when getting gifts for somebody, a lot of times they could feel stressful. One reason is kind of like the emotional pressure. And sometimes when you're in a relationship, many of us will equate the quality of a relationship with the quality of the gifts we give, or something tangible, so that, if you buy your significant other a Rolex watch, or you buy them a Hermes Birkin, or some, Gucci shoes, that suggests or implies or indicates that this is a real relationship, and that if you don't spend as much money on your significant other, that you undervalue him or her, or perhaps undervalue the relationship. And therefore, these type of potential high expectations that we may put on ourselves can lead to a mix of unwanted emotional feelings. Going along with that, with the idea of equating the quality of our relationship with the quality of the gifts, that could also put people in financial strain. And often, finances is a big reason why relationships end, or why marriages end in divorce, or why relationships end in a breakup. And there's even something called financial induced or financial stress induced anxiety, where the idea of having to spend a lot of money on a gift and the financial pressures behind it can really cause undue stress on an individual. And if you feel the pressure of having to like spend a lot of money on a gift, you may go into debt if you, let's say, overbuy it. I'm not talking about shopping sprees. I'm talking about the pressure of, I got to get my girlfriend or boyfriend, or I got to get my partner a Rolex watch that costs $15,000 versus, let's say, a I don't know, I'm not in big Tag Heuer watch that might cost $1,000. I got to get the Rolex watch because it shows that I value my significant other more than getting him or her a cheaper watch. So, I'm a big believer that, yes, nothing wrong with if you have the financial wherewithal or the financial means of indulging in spending and getting your partner something really nice. I'm not saying it's bad or wrong, but at the same time, I'm also a big believer that, something like Valentine's Day, the holiday or special day that it is, should be more about connection and connecting with your partner than about the material and tangible stuff. And that it should be more about that and less about, what did you get me or what didn't you get me? So therefore, we should align our giving with the recipient's love language and our own personal spending capacity, and replace presence, P-R-E-S-E-N-T-S, with presence, P-R-E-S-E-N-C-E. So I'm kind of playing on these words. I'm actually a fan of Gary Chapman's 5 love languages as a guideline for gift giving during, again, I'm going to use the word holidays, but especially now to Valentine's Day, but this could even apply to any festive day. Again, we get gifts on birthdays, Christmas, being Jewish, Hanukkah. I don't know if people give gifts on Easter, but any special occasion or holiday, anniversary, Mother's Day, Father's Day, etc. And so I'm a big believer in kind of this 5 love languages as a guideline of gift giving, rather than focusing on material, financial, or kind of tangible gifts. So the first kind of love language is what's called words of affirmation. And that can be manifested with a card, a Valentine's Day card, an anniversary card, a birthday card. Nowadays, if you are, financially strapped, or if money is tight, or maybe you're living paycheck to paycheck or have unwanted expenses, a card is a forever gift with really minimal expense. I mean, you can get a nice card for $5, $6. Maybe you want to get one of those cards that talk to you or have these music. Okay, maybe it's $10. But I think that most people, even ones that are having some financial difficulties, might be able to afford or be able to pay, say, $5 or $6 or $7 for a card that really lasts forever. Again, you get somebody a Rolex watch or a pair of Gucci shoes or a nice handbag or accessory. I mean, could they last forever? Yeah, in theory, but sometimes shoes fall out of fashion. A watch might break, or just through wear and tear. A bag might get torn, or the leather might get scratched. But a card, that kind of lasts forever. If you're not a person who can really express themselves on a card, you could create a montage of pictures that you could set to your partner's or special person's favorite song, and adding words of affirmation. It could be time consuming, but I believe more times than not, the recipient will probably be very happy when they see this card that you put effort and spend some time, and actually it comes across as being very sincere and heartfelt. Whereas, like I sometimes, for example, when I go get invited to a wedding or a bar mitzvah, Sometimes I'm like, I don't know what the person will like for a present, so, what I'll do is I'll write them a check or I'll give them cash, simply with the, kind of understanding or rationalization perhaps of, I give them $500 or $360 or whatever amount, and they can go and use that and buy whatever they like, or maybe they put it aside in the bank or invest it or whatever. And so it's kind of like, I don't want to say the easy way out, but it's certainly, a way of, hey, giving them a present, but letting them decide how they want to spend it. Now, on the other hand, I kind of sometimes look at it as it's somewhat impersonal. I don't want to say heartless, but more impersonal, because, here you just, write your person's name on a check, put the amount and give it to them. Maybe you include a little congratulations or happy birthday card or congratulations on your bar mitzvah or anniversary or whatever, but, giving a check can sometimes kind of be impersonal, whereas you give somebody a card that really, and let's say you put that with the check, the card, you can kind of become sincere, heartfelt, and honest when you really are able to write down and convey how you're feeling. And again, if you're one or a type of person who's a person of few words and you're not good at writing, again, maybe a montage of pictures or even choosing the card that kind of conveys the message you want to tell the person can say it all. And you might just add a few words. Hey, this, basically tells me or tells you how I feel about you, or might just add a sentence or two to the message the card's saying, and that could really, send a powerful message. The other love language, so I mentioned words of affirmation. The second one is what's called quality time. Like a shared experience can, create unforgettable memories that you'll always remember for the rest of your life. For example, a patient of mine shared that she takes each grandchild to Starbucks for a holiday one-on-one experience after oohing and eyeing over the holiday windows in her city. You could also find a person's sweet spot and focus on presence, again, Presence over presence. I'm often a big believer that quality can mean more than quantity, and that, for example, if you are, let's say, you have a busy work schedule, you're always traveling for work, and it's, let's say, Valentine's Day or your wedding anniversary or your significant other's birthday, but hey, I got a job, I'm going to be halfway around the world. Here, honey, here's $10,000, and go buy yourself a nice, Louis Vuitton bag, or you called and had 5 dozen roses and some great gifts sent to you. That's all well and good, and I'm not trying to downplay it, but I think that if, let's say, you decided, hey, you know what, I am not going to this meeting, and I let my partner or associate go instead of me because I want to spend time with my girlfriend or wife or husband or boyfriend, that can actually mean more and have much more significance than, hey, I'm calling you from Paris and I wish you were here. I hope you enjoyed, the Louis Vuitton bag I sent you. Again, it's great. So, there are, I'm sure, plenty of women out there that will enjoy it, but I can also imagine that if, let's say, you surprised your significant other and showed up and knocked on the door and saying, happy anniversary, happy Valentine's Day, I think they would appreciate that even more than receiving, like a gift sent via, say, UPS or FedEx. The third love language is called acts of service. So, for example, like baking their favorite goodies, doing it with them can count as quality time as well. Offer to babysit, make dinner, or even shop for food for the food banks together. I'm not sure who told me that they make food donations into a game in the supermarket where you have to find food with each other, with each letter of the alphabet, excuse me. Too much, use your family's last name or happy holidays. So again, this is kind of doing some like acts of service together, which can kind of, count as also quality of time, which I guess also quantity of time too. Fourth love language is receiving gifts. Obviously, gift giving is often an integral and required part of the relationship. So I have an example of one patient who comes from a large family, and they often do a mystery Maccabee or a Secret Santa exchange of names at Thanksgiving, and you only mindfully buy a gift for that one person. And the key is to set a limit on the gift cost and really research what the recipient wants. Now, I'm going to talk more about this when we come back, so we're going to take a brief commercial break, and we'll be back momentarily.
What happens when the mind of a healer crosses over into the darkness of the human soul? From authors David Icovetti, Dr. Gil Lichtshein, and Yolanda DeLuca comes a chilling psychological thriller, Dr. Mensch, A Prescription for Evil. This gripping novel follows a respected Boca Raton psychiatrist who secretly descends into madness, transforming into a modern-day king of the underworld. Inspired by true events and Dr. Gil's childhood connection to a mob family, this story blurs the line between sanity and evil, genius and destruction. Unforgettable, disturbing, impossible to put down. Get your copy today on Amazon.com. Dr. Mensch, A Prescription for Evil, a 2020 psychological crime thriller. You're listening to Dr. Mensch with child and adolescent psychiatrist Dr. Gil Lichtshein. For a copy of his powerful new book, Dr. Mensch's Prescription for Evil, visit Amazon.com. For more information or to schedule a consultation, contact Dr. Gil directly at 561-300-4052 or visit docgil.com. Now, let's get back to the show.
Hello again, this is Dr. Gil Lichtshein, aka Dr. Mensch. I've been talking about presence, a psychiatrist's guide to stress-free gift giving, and talking about love languages as it pertains to Valentine's Day, which is coming up in about 12 days. And I know that to many that is a day of stress, and even though it's supposed to be like a day of love and enjoyment, it can be a stressful day, especially when you're like, what do I get my significant other? What do I want? What should I ask them for? It's, again, this idea of gift giving that often people think what I give kind of represents what I think of my partner. And this idea I was talking about, what the fourth love language of receiving gifts, that this idea of like a Secret Santa or I'm Jewish, a mystery Maccabee, that, usually like when it came for Christmas and they do the Secret Santa, that there'd be a limit on how much you could spend on who the person you're supposed to give the gift to. And that, again, the idea of like, okay, quality over quantity, that, okay, if let's say you have a budget of $30, you might think like, oh, what can I get in today's world for $30 that's really nice? I mean, you might be surprised. I mean, I can't think on top of my head, but if you did enough due diligence and research, you probably can find something nice. But a lot of times it's like, I tell people, it's like not what you say, it's how you said it. So there's a concept or idea of quality versus quantity, that even though you might bring a gift to somebody that's $30, it might be something that this person really likes. Like if let's say that your partner really loves candles, and there's a certain scent or certain type of candle they like. Again, a candle, I can imagine there's probably some gourmet candles or some highfalutin candles that might cost hundreds of dollars, but you can go to Bath and Body Works or Bed Bath and Beyond, or probably go to some candle store and can get some nice candles for $20, $30. And even if, let's say, you buy 2 or 3, you're spending, let's say, under $100. But those 2 or 3 candles, might be the greatest thing that your girlfriend or wife or significant other got, even though they may have received, like, again, Rolex watches and Maseratis and fur coats and all the bling in the world, that sometimes even the smallest things can mean more than the biggest things. And again, I try to focus on that. A relationship shouldn't, especially a very deep, committed, meaningful relationship, shouldn't necessarily be based on, well, what have you done for me lately? How much money did you spend on me? Again, I'm not trying to say be a miser and don't spend money, but if you don't have the money, why should you think, or you shouldn't have to think that the more I spend, the more the person is going to love me, because you can't really buy love. And there is really no price tag to put on love. Now, the last love language is physical touch. Now, while this may not be my favorite recommendation, because a hug is fleeting and maybe, again, depending on your own beliefs and where you're living and where you're at, may not be, in today's climate, politically correct, there's still an importance of appropriate physical touch. And again, I'm not talking about, you're in a restaurant and you're making out and doing something that maybe should be relegated to the bedroom, or I would say, get a hotel room or go back home, or, okay, go into the bathroom and lock the door. There's certain things that, you're at a dinner table or at the theater that, nothing wrong with holding hands, hugging, maybe a kiss versus outright, going to second base or third base, you know what I mean, like excessive PDA. But I think there's a role for, physical touch and hugging and hand holding and some level of PDA. But I personally, like, with the hug, I would just like add a card or a favorite home baked treat or some type of, little tiny gift that kind of like adds to the moment, or adds to what, physical touch means. So, Valentine's Day, I personally, I try not to go out on Valentine's Day. Not that I'm downplaying it. It's just, to me, I find it as a day where restaurants can kind of nickel and dime you and rip you off. And you go to a restaurant and get the same food on Valentine's Day, and if you want the day before or day after, costs half or a third of the amount. So again, going in with the whole financial thing, if it's something you can't afford, because, again, money is a big reason why relationships end. Nothing wrong with, okay, let's order in, or taking the time to show how much you love a person by, I'm not the best of cooks, but for the last few weeks, I did some research online, and I know that, let's say that your partner loves eggplant parmesan or chicken cacciatore or some favorite dish that you actually, let's say, went online, did some due diligence and research on how to, make the eggplant parm, or bake your partner's like favorite pie or cake, went to the grocery store, bought the ingredients, and took the time. And maybe they didn't cost you $500 or $600 or $700 that it would cost you if you went to, an Italian restaurant on Valentine's Day. But you know what? That could send a more powerful message than, hey, I made a reservation for, some, high-end steakhouse, and the effort you put in is, I'm chauffeuring you to the restaurant, but we're being wined and dined. Taking the time out and, let's say, making dinner might or could send a more powerful message than going out to dinner and spending lots of money. So, my take-home message is Valentine's Day is, don't let the pressures of everything that Valentine's Day means to cause undue stress. That a day like that should really be something to enjoy, And you can create kind of your own special Valentine's Day that maybe not be politically correct, or what fits in the kind of modern day. There's this term called presentism, where applying, today's morality and standards that, again, it doesn't mean that it's absolute. Do what you feel is appropriate within your means, and as long as you know that you're enjoying it, your partner's enjoying it, that means more than spending hundreds or thousands of dollars to try to impress somebody that later on might be a source of undue stress that could actually cause your relationship to kind of unravel. So this idea of presence, Presents, or presence, Presenc, the latter to me really, I think, sends a more important message than the former. So on that note, I will conclude. I wish everybody a happy Valentine's Day, a stress-free Valentine's Day. And this is Dr. Gil Lichtshein, a.k.a. Dr. Mensch. I hope everybody has a good rest of your evening and a good rest of your week. And all I could say is I know here in South Florida we'll be back to normal temperatures in the next few days, and enjoy the wonderful winter that we're having. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us for Dr. Mensch with Dr. Gil Lichtshein, helping you navigate the world of mental health with clarity and care. If you or someone you love needs support, you're not alone. Treatment works and recovery is possible. To schedule a consultation or discuss non-medication therapies, personalized treatment plans, or psychiatric care, contact Dr. Gil directly at 561-300-4052 or visit docgil.com. You can catch us each week on South Florida Oldies Radio and streaming across all social platforms. Until next time.